Hello, I am Brianna. Welcome to my life on paper, where paper and pictures tell my story. I continue to play along with Follow a Sketch February, and today our sketch is by Rochelle Spears. I'm also playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. I will talk about that in a minute. And then I'm also playing along with Galentine's Day, where we celebrate our gal pals. And in my case, I will be celebrating my daughter Meredith and her friend Jess, and they roomed together for 2 years at school. All right, so the Mixed Media Mayhem is every Friday, and there is either a recipe or a lift to do. And today, our ingredients for our recipe is paste, specialty paper, and splatters. Galentine's Day is a hop run by Miranda Weber, and you can see the playlist below, and you can see what everybody else is doing. Same thing for Mixed Media Mayhem. There is a playlist, and then there is also a playlist for Follow a Sketch February with a Steak Goddess on YouTube. She is Sandy Reversky, and she is Scrapping Reflections on Facebook, and she also has a store that will all be linked below. So I went ahead and on my Cricut, I made this circle of hearts. I thought that was appropriate for a Valentine's Day layout. Now, these pictures are not from Valentine's Day. It was getting to the end of their rooming together, and they were just enjoying the time they had left together. So they took a couple photos. They actually took three, and those are the photos I have. I am trimming them all down to 3 by 4. I think if I had to guess, those photos in the layout are probably 3 by 3, but 3 by 4 worked perfect for me. I am my Fiskars trimmer with the wire, the 12-inch one, has broken. It is done, and I know you can send them in, or not send them in, but you can talk to Fiskars and get a new one. I did that once already. This is like the replacement one already. So I do have different trimmers that I don't always like using as much. So I have this one that works well for pictures, the Guillotine, and then I think you'll see my other one in a little bit. So I'm just trimming those photos. In the beginning, I don't know if you saw it, but I quick brought in a paper pad, and that's from Hobby Lobby. I paid like less than $6 for it on clearance, and it has the perfect papers to celebrate your gal pals. So it's got this paper of girls, and I thought, what else would you use it for? But this is working well. So got those. I've got my blue strip, my kind of my red and my peachy color strip, maybe kind of pink. I used a pink polka dot, or that it's a red that matches the one on the left there that has polka dots on it, and that's what I used to cut my cut file out with my hearts. I was looking at different papers. I really liked this black floral. It wasn't my first choice, but I think the colors really bring everything together. So, and it goes well with the photos that are a little bit darker as well. So that's what I'm using. I think I cut them down to 4.5 by like 9-ish. Oh, I always have a hard time remembering exactly what I trimmed it down to, but it works well to mat the photos. And I guess you already got a peek at my trimmer. So it is a Caterpillar crop, and it's kind of heavy. It's not guillotine. It's got the blade that runs across, the rotary blade, and it actually, when you put batteries in it, the where you're trimming it, it creates a line of light. The problem with that was that the cover to the batteries never stayed on, so the batteries would fall out. And I don't even think I have the cover anymore, because you know how that goes. Once it starts falling off, you lose it. But I certainly could put some batteries in it and tape it up and work with that. So we'll see how that goes. Because I had a different Fiskars one with the rotary blade, and man, I had to like cut it like several times before it would cut a piece of paper. So that was very frustrating. So I will keep you updated on that. All right, so now that I have all these papers cut, I am going to adhere them to each other, and I'm not going to adhere them down yet because I'm going to do my mixed media. I'm just trying to get placements for everything and making sure that it looks good. Everything looks the way I want it to, before I get started here. There is also on the sketch a little spot on the bottom. It's like a triangle paper on the bottom. So I do take this blue floral and I glue it. This is the best way that I know to make it work. The easiest, there you go. The easiest, fastest way to make it work. So just gluing it down to the paper, taking out my Tim Holtz serrated scissors that are long that I love. These are my newest addition to my scissors. And then I just trim along the edge of the paper there and away we go. Worked very slick that way. So now I'm going to bring out the specialty paper, and I have vellum in my collection. And I'm not exactly sure what the definition of specialty paper is, but I'm kind of thinking vellum is a specialty paper. And my thought was it just softens the the colors of the ladies standing on that paper. um, I don't know, let me know what you think. It seemed like a good idea, so I went with it. It wouldn't have been terrible not to have the vellum, but I just thought it was fun to play with. I had a couple a little bit that I trimmed off that I took my tab punch to, and I made some vellum tab punches. I don't know how or when I would use that, but that's okay. It's always fun to try stuff out. Okay, so I've got my glimmer paste, Nouveau, and the color is Nu Nebulosity Black, and it's shimmery, and I like it. So here I am being random with my hearts. I don't, I get it that you really, black hearts is not necessarily a good thing, but it went well with this collection. So I'm really happy the way it turns out. And I don't think it screams like, hey, you have a black heart or anything like that. I think it's artistic, and I'm sticking with that. I add a little bit more. At this point, I'm thinking, gosh, I wish those two on the bottom were closer together. There wasn't a gap, but I didn't want a chance smearing anything, so I stayed away. And I figure I'm just gonna go in, or heck, you know how it goes. Once you get mixed media down, you might be covering up with all the pictures. So I'm keeping an open mind right now, trying to figure out um, how I'm gonna camouflage that little spot with no hearts in it. So recently I've used some of my Vicky Bouton paints, so I'm going to get those out again, and then I'm going to trial them a little bit. I've got a little paper there. I'm going to get the pink wet as well as something that looks a little bit orangey. I'm going to try them both out um, before I put them on my paper, and you can see that pink is too bright. I don't like that, but the orangey one, I don't know if I did that yet on there or not. The orangey one is perfect. So going with that, and it's just kind of light, and I'm not trying to be perfect or anything like that. um I want probably brush strokes, but not like a lot of brush strokes. I don't want it to be severe, but I want it to have like movement and things like that. So that's what I'm going for, and I keep bringing in my photos so that I can see if I've done enough or not, and I know I'm not going over the whole page. And I'm also thinking that that's going to help camouflage that spot in between the hearts that I didn't like, that blank spot. Now it's got some watercolor on it. So I am happy with that. So then after that dries, I'm gluing down the bunch of patterned papers there, and I'm going to line that up knowing I still have to use my vellum. Seeing how the cut file works. All the hearts are going to be sideways. It's just the way it's a heart wreath. They're just going to be sideways. There's no way to get them going up and down on that wreath. Totally fine. All right, so I'd adhere that down in the middle where I know you're not going to be able to see it because the photos are going over the top, so you won't see any of my adhesive. Then I'll get the photos down with the cut file behind it. And when I cut the cut file out, I saved the hearts um, that the Cricut cut out. So I'm going to use those. And here I'm just, giving it a little bit more color. And I don't have like ideas for any embellishments. And part of me thinks, is this it? Am I not going to do embellishments? Am I just going to use the hearts? But I will take those hearts and put them around. There's one big one and a whole bunch of littler ones, so I'll do a cluster at the bottom there. And then I'm also going to put some up there on the top of the right. And then I do three up there, so I have one left over, and I thought, well, that vellum's kind of fallen off on the top there, so I put a little adhesive on that, and that's going to hold the vellum in place on top. Then I go into my stash, and these are 20-year-old close to my heart stickers that I have a very lot of, as you can see. So I put a little extra adhesive on there, and that's going to be part of my cluster for my hearts. In fact, I'll use it to cluster the hearts on top and then do this similar thing on the bottom with the hearts as well. And then I go um, off camera kind of to separate out all those other pieces that I have down there. There's tabs and there's tags and there's squares and there's circles, and I think that might be it. So I'm just gonna kind of separate to see what I have down there, and then I'll come back and see what is gonna look good on the page. Right away, I know I want to use a tab, so I'm going to get that up there, and I do put some adhesive on it, or I think it's the liquid glue. And then I'm going to use these, they're like photo holders, photo clips. So I'll put those on the four corners of the mat. And I think it's here where I'm starting to think that bottom left corner is missing something. So I'm going to get the clips down and see what else I want to use from that collection. And I end up, you can, oh, I get another tag. There's two different patterns of tags, so I get the other one in there. And then you can see those three small tags. Yeah. So I'm going to pull those out and put them over there. And I think that's where I decide that's enough of the stickers, because I'm kind of starting to fill the page now. So I'm going to get some twine out and put those in the tags, and those are just going to sit right along the right hand side there. I was really impressed with how well the colors of this Close to My Heart collection matched the papers from Paper Studio. I think the only color that didn't exactly match was there. It was a bright red in the Close to My Heart stickers, but that's okay. All right, so I do decide to do more on the left lower corner, so it's kind of like a diagonal design, I guess. And you can tell this down here, the watercolor is darker than on the top, and I'm totally okay with that. So I get it spread apart, and then I'm gonna go in with everything in place and do my same texture paste in the left lower corner. And that will be one of the last things that I do. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, I would appreciate it. I'm getting close to that 1,000 mark, and so I'm getting excited to hit that achievement. And if you have a scrapping friend, um, would you mind sharing my videos with them or a video with them? Share my channel with them. That would be super helpful to me. I would appreciate it. Thank you. But the last thing I'm going to do after I get these hearts down, I'll get a couple more down, is I'm going to do some splatters. And I have saltwater taffy distress spritz, and even though it's, like a pinky and my watercolors were like an orangey, it goes pretty well. Like, I don't think you can tell a difference between. I could have just splattered my watercolor, I guess. I didn't even think about that at the time. All right, that is going to do it for me. Watch for the close-ups. I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and happy Valentine's Day, and come back and see me again tomorrow for another February, follow a sketch February sketch.